Hi, everyone. This is a new live stream where we get to kind of work and talk about a new project that I've been talking to a bunch of friends of mine about this project for a while. And, I think it's a great opportunity this year, just like we did projects before with the Open AI. And before that, we did a lot of projects together, and I think a project that basically is a domain project, a domain system that's in the open source space could be super helpful, especially for engineers that are still kind of breaking into the field or those who have been around for a while and they want to do something more meaningful than just the day-to-day grind. This is an introduction to Project ARK, which stands for Acts of Random Kindness. It's an open source C#.NET project that will be hosted in Azure as a cloud system and open sourced on GitHub for everyone out there who wants to build standard compliant, test driven architecture platform that they can see and kind of be proud of as a kind of a portfolio, when they kind of introduce themselves as being part of a bigger and better projects. This project focuses on three main things. The first thing that I want to focus on here is basically the idea that there's a lot of applications out there that they try to do good things, but they're full of ads, they're full of problems that kind of almost prohibits the ability to kind of use the actual app. So this is truly free and open source. Like, there is no caveat. It's just a project that's meant to give people ideas every day about how to do a random act of kindness. That's the first purpose of this project. The second purpose of it, so number one, spread goodness, like spread goodness in the world, which is the coalition of the good-hearted engineers, the standard community. All of that is built on top of this piece. The other piece here is learning and education, right? Learning and education, and these are two different things. The people that kind of join these streams and they start talking about particular topic, I'm intentionally trying to educate them about a particular topic or a particular pattern, versus people who are just watching the stream or watching the code and they look at it and they be like, okay, well, we learned something today. Maybe there's a C# trick that Hassan is showing, or a new architecture pattern or something like that. Something, one thing or other that you kind of watch a stream, you're not really following the whole project, but you look at a one particular piece of it and you start saying, well, you know what? I could use that on the day-to-day, that I'm using. I just had a comment here. We just started the stream. I was like, let me go to sleep, man. Why are you doing this? Like, well, this is gonna be recorded. So if you don't really feel sleepy, you could always hop into the stream and chat with me. That'd be fun. What's the third most important thing about ARK, right? Okay, we want to spread goodness. We want to give people an opportunity for learning and education, especially new people. I want to leave a good, track in terms of track records, right? It's really important for software engineers that are really well-rounded in their field to build something a lot more than just for-profit projects or the day job. I know it's super hard and it's a very tricky topic for people who are they're just so involved into their day-to-day work. They're so consumed, their hours are so limited. They don't get a chance to volunteer something. This is a chance to volunteer, but also put a good track record out there for you that you're willing to go into bigger projects. So that track record will basically allow others to approach you. Like, I just saw LinkedIn today starting to say, hey, if you're willing to do volunteer work, please show that on your profile, because there's a lot of people out there in the world that could use your help. They could use your knowledge, but it's not that easy for them to find you because they don't know. Like, if you have a bigger title, like a senior or principal engineer, a lot of people will assume that you're too busy to even answer their questions. This track record piece is very important for everyone to know. Yeah, I'm willing to participate in a bigger project. I'm willing to, donate time and effort to kind of, make myself part of something bigger and better. But really, the real question is, what is ARK really? Like, we want to build, Hassan keeps talking about this ARK thing. What is this ARK thing? What is it about? Well, the system is actually the simplest thing in the world. In short terms, as a very high level statements, right? Provide everyone, everywhere, with ideas to perform one random act of kindness every day, right? There are some universal things that you know are kind. There's no second guessing it. You know, you saw a person out on the street, they seem very tired and hungry, and you just go out there and buy them a meal, right? That's universally agreed upon as an act of random kindness, right? There are people out there that could benefit from a simple word, like you could say thank you, or you look great today, or I really like, this what you did with this particular project or painting or whatever the case may be. That's an act of random kindness. Some of these universal values that nobody disagrees on, worldwide, you look at it and you look at the one thing that people do and you say that's super kind, that's really nice, and I really appreciate that this person did this or that. I want to give people ideas, people everywhere, no matter who they are, what they are, ideas. They open up their mobile app and they basically look at it and they say, well, that's actually amazing, I could actually do this today. It needs to be possible regardless of who that person is. Like, don't go out there and say, well, your act of random kindness today is to donate $1 million, to the poor. Well, it is a random act of kindness, but there's only a handful of people that can perform that particular act. But if you go out there and say, well, help someone that is in need today, maybe buy, bottles of water on a hot day and just put them on a table in a high traffic area and let people kind of pick up the cold, bottle of water and have a drink, have a drink of water or a sip of water. That's easy. That's simple. You could do this, right? That's the point of it. And how are we going to perform this? This is the goal. This is the project. This is what this is all about. How are we going to do this is that I'm going to build and I'm going to show you how to build a mobile app. This will be both Android and iOS apps. And this Android and iOS app will be running on Blazor MAUI. So you get to learn about Blazor MAUI and how to use Blazor MAUI projects to kind of build mobile apps. And on the back end, it's talking to a simple API. And this API is a RESTful ASP.NET Core API. And this API basically talks to a database. It's your classic try nature of everything standard, right? This database is going to have random acts of kindness assigned per day. But that's just the first iteration of it, because what we really want to do, we want to do something crazier with that stuff, right? We want to basically go and say, well, it today it's a random act of kindness assigned to one day. So when you open up the app, it sends the day as a query and it pulls in the random act of kindness that you're looking for. But tomorrow, this database record is going to increase. We're going to give it, V1 and V2. We're going to give it so many different versions. And one of the versions that this record will have is going to be things about, it's more personalized, right? It's more within your ability, within the user's ability. I want people to be able to share their experiences, like, okay, the app today will show you just, this is your random act of kindness and that's it. But a next iteration would be, this is your random act of kindness, share something about that random act of kindness. So it becomes a social, encouraging kind of experience where people see a random act of kindness suggestion, they go do it, maybe they record themselves or they talk about how they, have done that, they share that on the thread for that random act of kindness, and then other people see the same thing and be inspired by the work and the contribution of people that have done this. It's the simplest thing in the world, and what I really love about this project is that it gives us, all of us software engineers, people in general, the opportunity to see how a product evolves from nothing, right? But at the same time, it's very doable. Like, I can guarantee you, like 99% of the engineers out there could implement this today, right? But we want to do it in public, and we want to do it in open source, and we want to make it standard compliant, test driven, acceptance, system tests, performance tests, whatever the case may be. But we also want to make it evolve in front of people, and it has no caveat. It's not one of those apps where you open it up and boom, all the ads just right in your face and you don't even know what the app is doing anymore. It's truly free, and it's truly driven by the community. And I hope that people find this to be inspiring for them. I hope you find this to be something that gives you an opportunity to learn about, some really deep experience about building complex systems and engineering patterns and whatnot. but also at the same time, it'll give you the opportunity to know and meet new people, right? I can't emphasize more on this. The networking aspect of open source projects is amazing because, I have had the opportunity to be in the middle of building open source projects and see people from everywhere around the world start to know and get to know each other. And then they start opening up opportunities for each other. Like maybe you get to know someone in the open source space, and then, out of the blue, he says, "Hey, by the way, I need a .NET developer. And I know you're great. I just saw what you did in this ARK project, and I really could use your help for a contractor job or a full-time job, or I need a CTO, or I need a senior engineer that will help me kind of build something, that's paid." The amount of value that can come out of building a project like this is immense and invaluable. And this is basically just an opportunity for all of us to kind of take a chance and build something nice like this. And just like I do with every project, I'm going to create two different projects. One of them is ARK UI, which is ARK.mobile, right? And then there is the ARK.API. And API part, let's just start building this while we're at it. So let me go to GitHub here and just start building, and you get to see like how I'm basically establishing and creating new repositories, what these repositories mean, and all that fun stuff. So let me share my screen here. There we go. Here is a share screen. Here's my profile. And then new. This is all open source, and I'm going to say ARK.API like this. Okay. And sure, let's add a README file, git ignore. Yeah, you get to select the Visual Studio, git ignore one, and then choose a license. I don't know if they added the standard license yet. TSSL. It's not letting me, right? So I'm gonna leave it alone for now, but we really need to add the standard license as a part of this. So I'm gonna do that, and then I'm just gonna click create repository. Let me select myself, and then I'm gonna click. Oh, that lose the screen. Here we go. Share screen. Here we go. So owner, I don't have a repository template that I care about, arc.api, and then public private Visual Studio. Azure boards, I don't really need Azure boards for this, but I guess it's just installed. So I'm just going to create a repository here. Okay, so that's Arc API, blank, brand new, GitHub project that we can start working on. And then I want to do the same thing with the, let's see here, repositories. And then I'm going to go here and click new. Same thing, ARK mobile, right? So this is the mobile app of this. I want the Visual Studio for git ignore, just the files that you get out of the build and whatnot. You don't need all that. And that should be it. Now let's just kind of go back to, the sad part about having bigger screens is that you have to switch between windows and whatnot, but hopefully that's okay with everyone. Okay, so these are two different projects. So going back to the actual architecture of this project, we're going to start from the back end, right? When you start building a project, it's really important for you to focus on where you want to start first. Why it's important to start from the back end instead of the front end. So I always take that direction of going from here, from the back here, all the way up to here. So this is the direction that I take. Why is this important? Why does this matter? I'll tell you why this matters. Because while you're building your APIs and building your backend systems, if you discover that your API contract needs to change, that shouldn't be a surprise for your front end component, right? Your front end component shouldn't be surprised that you change the contracts on them. And what I mean by a contract, I mean the API endpoints, the models that you're sending, and all that kind of stuff. Although this project is perfect, it's so easy and simple that that is a lot less likely to happen. But I'm trying to share with you the enterprise experience here. So that's why this matters. I'm gonna, yeah, I like it when the screen is a little bit bigger than that so everyone can see. Yeah, this is much better like that. Okay. So we're going back to front. So back end to front end, right? Like that. So B to F, back to front, right? But that doesn't always have to be the case because, Sometimes front end you can run in parallel, right? Like if you define these contracts and you're 100% agree that these are the contracts you want to build, you can let your front end team build the front end pieces while the back end team builds the back end pieces, and then you kind of meet in the middle. This is a very classic common thing when you're building enterprise systems, and I think that it's super easy to happen. But for the purpose of this stream, and because I initially planned to kind of drive the entire development, at least for the V0.1 of this release, I think that's fine to go back to front and kind of build that. We can start with the database. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the how to build dependencies, what is the entity framework, how you integrate the entity framework and whatnot, and then we're going to build the API, the simplest API in the world. It takes a date and it gives you text. That's it. That's V0.1 of this API, which is like there's no V basically. It's the API slash ARKs, right? We're gonna call them ARKs. That's the endpoint, and then the front end would be just a very simple page that will render the text that it is received from the API, and then it will just offer it. The API will not have any authentication authorization, but later on, when we start personalization and creating accounts and posting things on your ARK, right? That's when we have to identify who you are and what you are, and that's how the application itself is supposedly going to evolve. Now, I know when I posted this on the standard community, a lot of people said, hey, I want to participate, I want to contribute and whatnot. How do you participate and contribute? The number one thing I advise you to do is to go to our Discord channel, right? Our Discord channel, I'm going to kind of drop the link to our Discord channel. Oh, you actually, if you just go to the standard community, it'll just take you there. Let me kind of show you where you can contribute to this project. So here is, if you just go to the standard, which is the book that we follow for building software, and then just click on the standard community. It's going to pop up a Discord kind of login thing, and then it's just going to open, a Discord channel for you. Or you can continue online. It's up to you how you want to participate to this project. Your participation to this project, like however much time you put in, if you just watch these videos, you're going to learn something. I can guarantee you that for sure. If you choose to watch and participate by joining the stream, right, and basically talk to me about the ideas and whatnot, you're going to learn something more because you have questions. You want these questions answered, so you're not just watching static content that's just being streamed at you in a one-way stream kind of fashion. It's going to be more like, I have questions, tell me about this, tell me about that. So you're going to learn more than just watching the stream. If you watch and join the stream and also participate in the code, like we're going to open a bunch of issues, right? And we want these issues to be addressed. I'm going to lock the contributions in the beginning because I want to build this entirety of V1 for everyone, and then we're going to start kind of iterating and having more features later on. But if you write code and actually get your hands dirty and you kind of put your heart and soul into this, you'll be doing great things. You'll feel good about what you're building because you're helping people everywhere, but also at the same time you'll be having the opportunity to kind of have a portfolio. Having a portfolio as a software engineer is really, really important. I don't care about how much contributions you make, but basically what you built with these contributions. Sometimes one commit could be a lot more valuable than 20 commits. If you don't believe this, think about people that have been in the standard community and would participate code rubs compared to something like a coordination or an orchestration or something that actually pushes the features forward and kind of helps you kind of build amazing systems. I hope you find this kind of introduction valuable to you. I'm gonna put something out there every week. These are going to be longer streams. Like, I'm not just going to show you how to create a GitHub repo and walk away. I'm going to create the repo just like I did. I'm going to build the pipeline. I'm going to add the API. I'm going to add the infrastructure. I want to move super fast on this because it's a very simple project and a great opportunity. So brace yourself for like longer sessions that could last 1 or 2 hours, 3 hours. These are not your classic YouTube videos where you just get 10-minute quick video and then you learn something and then walk away. It's going to be very slow, intentionally slow process for you to learn how to build systems and all that. Other than that, thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you next week. I hope you find this project inspiring for you. Reach out on our community if you have any questions. And thank you so much for watching our stream or watching the recording of it. Take care.